Hello, spooky little people. I am Sister Boonity. Hold on just one moment while I make live the Instagram. Ooh. Social media. Where the hell is the go live video? Slow motion. Where the hell do you go live? On Instagram. Okay, oh, that's not Instagram. I had the phone's camera on, not the Instagram. Now I go live on Instagram as well. So you people on YouTube, welcome the people on Instagram. Oop. Post, story, reel, live. Oop. I am now live broadcasting in the wrong direction. How do you turn the fucking camera around? Yeah, there we go. Welcome, instant grammar. I'm from Moldova, so my grammar may be off. But instantly, because of the messages, you can correct my grammar. That is why the application is called Instant Gram. Okay, I've got two goddamn cameras. I'm going to have to split my attention between you all night long. Sorry, YouTubers, I wiggled the table a little bit. Instagrammers, you're fine. YouTubers, you are getting close shot of the makeup. Instagrammers, you are getting full torso with the necklace of Kalima. Look at the skulls. Kalima made this especially for me when she took the form of a Oaxacan artisan woman in southern Mexico to handcraft this for me. Ha ha ha! Sister Boonity. Boo. I refresh myself. What, you ask? Do you drink, Sister Boonity? Are you drinking the Boonity tea? That is a beverage joke. No, I am undead, so of course I am drinking blood. The blood of the cranberry. Vegan undead. It can be done. Please welcome my assistants, Jonathan, Patricia, Michael, and Hermione. They are very small people, but they are dead. And I fled them alive and made them into a stew. That is why the bones are so clean, except for Jonathan is not so clean, and Patricia is very dusty. It was about enough for a very small chicken pot pie, except they were not chicken, except in the homosexual sense of the term, because they were only 20. How many of you are homosexuals? I mean, I'm undead, but you know, I still like to bone people because undead people, especially with skeletons, like to bone. That is an anatomical humor there. I have promised you ghost stories tonight, and we will have ghost stories. And this night will be different than nights in the past. Why, do you ask? Why, you ask, will it be different? I do not know. It's just what I found online. But how is the proper question? How will it be different? It will be different because I will read a number of true ghost stories. Some from history, some from present day. Shall we begin? Let us see what the ghosts have in story for us. By the way, if I have not said so, happy Halloween. Yeah, it is the night when the veil is thinnest and you can talk to the spirits who have departed. In fact, why don't you call up Matt Perry and don't talk to him about Friends. Maybe you read the quotation online. Yeah, Friends, yeah, very good, very proud, very proud. But the real thing that he leaves behind is the recovery house in Malibu to help people recover from alcoholism. I am undead. I died, I came back. My state is certain. But if you want a state that is like living dead on earth or in hell on earth, you need to talk to someone who has recovered from addiction, especially to very severe drugs like methamphetamines. These drugs destroy the mind. They destroy the relationships. They destroy the life. And that is why, two things. One, you must always stay clear of them. And two, you must always have compassion for those struggling with addiction. Why? Because addiction is not a fault in the character of the addict. Addiction is a disease. As I will tell you, there are people born with genetic propensities for alcohol to take a place in the body that nourishes it, that it thrives on it. That, like I drink the blood of the cranberry, the alcohol does amazing things in the body and the mind that it does not do to people without the genetic propensity. It is not good for them in the long run, but it must be what I'm saying is it must be understood that this is a disease, a congenital thing you are born with, that if you fall into the alcohol or the methamphetamine, etc., it will give you a great struggle. You fight your own body's propensities. And that is very difficult. That is very difficult. Read the stories. Go online and look. Read the stories of people who have recovered, who are recovering alcoholics and substance use survivors. It is like wrestling with the devil. And let me tell you, being undead, Sister Boonity, I have wrestled with the devil. It is so hard to get away from that man because the cock is enormous and so talented. He was an angel who fell from heaven and he was God's favorite angel. Why do you think that is? Okay? Heaven is a place of a million splendors. I believe if you are Muslim, you get 77 Virginians when you die. Pleasures. Well, God had a special angel who was really well endowed. And boy, could he play a harp? That's a metaphor, if you know what I mean. So he went down to the other place where all the people who love to play with the meat eggplant, they go. Like me, that is where I live. I live in hell, and I come once a year out of the hell to occupy the web camera and the telephone to tell you the stories of the ghosts. I hear you. You're saying, Sister Boonity, you have not gotten to the ghost stories. You're going on about drug addiction. What are you, a nun? A sister of perpetual indulgence? Yes, I am. I am the order's only undead member so far. Oh, before I start the ghost stories, also, before the actor will give you the play, he wants to get paid. So, tonight, I tell you these stories, like I told for the last 8 years, for free. Sister Boonity give. But tonight I ask you, if you enjoy my stories, pay for the performance. by donating to the sisters so we can give your money to this organization, City 1X Youth. City 1X Youth helps the homeless, the unhoused, LGBTQIA two-spirit children of the night, not the wolves and the bats. I'm talking about young people as young as 10 years old through 18, 20, 24, who have been thrown out of their homes by their rigid, sometimes very religious, very far right-wing families with zero tolerance for things that they are unfamiliar with, things they don't know and do not like. We reject, we hate that which we will not accept in ourselves. Bisexuality is 80-90% of the population has some propensity for bisexual feelings, urges, sensations. How many accept this in themselves? It is said in contemporary research, 40% of young people now admit to being bisexual, gay, or lesbian. 40%. Dr. Kinsey, Dr. Smatters, and Johnson's, they knew it was more. The Kinsey Bell jar, the Bell curve. Look it up. Most people have some capacity for bisexual feelings, urges, and sensations. We reject, we hate, we kill in others what we will not accept in ourselves. All these people, all this majority, all these people, they have, especially in puberty, they have some kind of experience or sensation. And some of them are confused and they work with it and they come to a decision. I had a thing with my friend Jeremy, but I'm going to choose to be heterosexual. I will live the life of a straight person. I had this thing with Jeremy. Boy, it was good. And his sister was also good. I'm going to do both. I had this thing with Jeremy, and then his mother, grandmother, sister, and his great aunt. And I can tell I'm going to go with Jeremy. And the women had your chance. I'm done. I'm gay. Or I had this thing with Jeremy that I will never speak again. I will crush it in my mind. I will confess and do my penance. And then I will take a firm stance against it. It must not exist in the world because I cannot be that. It cannot exist. No, nothing. Don't want to hear about nothing. My child is what? I have no child. Out on the streets. You knew this. I preached to the choir. You come to Sister Boonity because you like queer. I'm the queer undead. You know, being undead, I cannot rest. You get so sleepy being undead. I just look at the circles around my eyes. No sleep. In Los Angeles, on any night, there are between 3,000 and 5,000 children with no home, kicked out of their families, or ran away to avoid violence or abuse. Can you picture in your mind 3,000 children? Go to Hollywood Boulevard and look and fill the sidewalk with 3,000 to 5,000 children, not people, not a scruffy 25-year-old hustler or escort or porn star. They're fine. Children, a 12-year-old. And what does he do? According to the organizations we work with, we sisters work with, that I have spoken with, they have to be found in the first 3 days, because after that it gets exponentially harder to keep them safe from human traffickers, pimps. And what do the pimps do? They find the child lost, no place to stay, doesn't know the big city, has no money. what are they to do? And they tell them, I will take care of you. The child is desperate and freaked out. A helping hand is extended, they take it. And then what happens from there? The pimp gives them a place to stay and feeds them well. And in exchange, demands they perform sex acts on any paying customer of any age, race, body type, whoever has the money. You don't get to choose your sexual partner when your pimp is forcing you to make the money. Consent. The pimp will say it is consensual. They have brainwashed their workers with violence and dependency. It is not consent. It is coercion. It is force. And we know at times it is physical violence. So the few organizations like City 1X do what they can to get the children off the streets before the 3 days. They supply them with a place to sleep, food, a chance at education, the LGBT center, which is well funded enough that I'm raising for City 1X, who is lesser funded. That's why I focus on this one charity tonight. But for an example, the housing provided for the homeless LGBT kids by the Los Angeles LGBT Center, they have a clothing bank. So when the kid is old enough to find work, they can borrow clothing from the clothing bank and dress nicely to go on an interview, to get a job, to get their life back. Can you help them? Why don't you volunteer? Why don't you give some hours on your weekends or a weeknight and go and volunteer? If you can't do this, why don't you make up little sheets, print out little sheets of paper about City 1X, LGBT Center, the other organizations? You can find them on the Sisters website under beneficiaries, people we work with. Why don't you go down to Hollywood Boulevard and hand them out to people, lost children who have no home, so they have resources, they know where to go? Or if you can't do any of this, why don't you tonight give through the sisters to City 1X? How, Sister Boonity, do I do this? I promise, we get to the stories next. How do you donate? 2 ways. 1, get out your phone. Fuck, that was my drinking straw. Now it is on the floor. Don't worry, I don't worry about germs. I am on bed. See if you can scan the QR code here. It will take you to the sisters' LinkedIn. I do it for YouTube in a moment. I'm doing Instagram right now. It will take you to the sisters' LinkedIn. On the LinkedIn, you find button for Cash App and button for PayPal, or just button for donate. Now I do for YouTube. Scan QR code. Go choose Cash App or PayPal. Donate. This video will be on my YouTube channel. Not mine, I'm undead. I don't have a YouTube channel. This will be on the channel of my living friend, Sister Boonity. So hard to say that word when you are Boonity. And you can go through the video and stop it at this point and do the QR code. I will show it more times tonight. Perhaps I clip the QR code here while I tell story. Or if you can't scan QR code, I tell you where to go. First, I get drinking straw back from Mother Earth. Do you like outfit? New frock made by sister. Come on, I wanna lay you. She made this for me because it sparkles like the stars in the night. Except Matthew Perry. It does not sparkle anymore. He's a little damp. Don't tell me too soon. I am undead. You have no idea what I'm dealing with. I have to take around a box of dirt from my homeland in Moldova everywhere I go. You think it's easy to keep Moldovan dirt in Los Angeles? It dries out. Here is how you donate without QR code. Go to Cash App and search for us at $LAS, I think that says, yes, P-I, LASPI, $ in front, $LASPI, Los Angeles Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, $LASPI on Cash App. I'll write that down in magic marker later after a couple of stories. Sister Boonity, oops, Sister Boonity, you ask, how do I do it if I don't have Cash App? You can go to PayPal, or easy, go to our website, L.A. Drag Sisters, the Drag Nuns, sorry, L.A. Let's see, drag Nun. Oh, Nun. Is that right? Is that you? Nuns. .org. LADragnuns.org. You go there, click on the tab that says donate. Then you will see PayPal button. Donate there. Treasurer of Sisters, Sister Miracle, has cleared out our donations for tonight. So everything donated tonight, she will know, goes to City1X to help the children of the night. LA Sisters, excuse me. Well, you can go to lasisters.org. There's a 301 redirect. Sister Boonity knows how to code. There's a 301 redirect, and you can go and it will take you to ladragnuns.org. Either way, click donate. Okay. It is 20 minutes and no story, you say. I know. I am sorry. Sister Boonity will tell you a story now. For all 4 of you who are listening. On Instagram, 5 of you apparently on YouTube. Yeah. You know, I could go to West Hollywood Boulevard and get a blowjob. But no, I stay here for you. Once upon a time, in a kingdom called Denmark, there was a young prince. He was a very bohemian, intellectual type of prince. And he had been from college. He went overseas to college, nice college, Cambridge, Oxford, something like this. And he comes home. He's after college, has, you know, that 22-year-old malaise. Get a job. I don't want to get a job. You get a job. You're grown. I'm a prince. Why do I need to get a job? I wait for everybody to die, then I have job. One night, he is asleep. He sleeps a lot because he is very depressed. Why is very smart, well-educated prince has everything? Why is he depressed? You ask. Go ahead, ask it. I wait. I don't see your message asking. Screw you. He is depressed. I tell you, make it easy. I am storyteller, your audience. He is depressed because his father, the man who taught him everything except the things that Oxford taught him. Oh, thank you very much for asking why. I don't know who you are because I'm not wearing reading glasses. Thank you, Olidin. Thank you for asking why. Undead. But, you know, when you're undead and you come back to life, undead life, you don't get like new corneas and new lenses in your eyeball. You die with what you got. And I died in my 50s. So I wore glasses in life. I wear them now. Sister Boonity is farsighted. Sister, that other one, Boonity, she is nearsighted. That is how you know we are not the same person. His father taught him everything about life, about being a man, how to screw, how to be a good gardener, how to sit on the throne so your ass does not get tired while you listen to the people coming to the palace royal throne room to complain about corrupt officials and land deals that went wrong and blah, blah, blah. This beloved father is dead. He died. Everyone thinks he died in his sleep. And Hamlet thinks, why would he die so young in his sleep? It is so unlucky. So one night he goes to sleep and he has a dream, this prince. And in dream, he hears moaning noise. And he wakes up, but he still hears moaning noise. And he thinks, I thought it was a dream. Why? Is this a dream or is this reality? Go to Sister Boonity's YouTube page and look for story of Ashtavakra. Not a ghost story, so I don't tell it, but it tells you about this confusion, which is real, the dream state or the awake state. It gives you the philosophical answer to this puzzle. Hamlet is the name of the prince. You know this by now because you are intelligent people and you read Shakespeare. So Prince Hamlet, he thinks, am I dreaming? Am I awake? I don't know. But the sound gets louder. He thinks, why is the sound so loud? I go to follow the sound. And he follows out onto the battlements of the palace in Copenhagen. Copenhagen is 1,000 miles from Moldova, where I grew up, but took vacation there once. Very good cheese. A little bland, but it goes with apples very nicely. Moldova, all we have is cheese, kind of rotten. Don't eat Moldovan cheese. So Hamlet goes out to the battlements and he sees the moon shining in the sky. And the morning is all of a sudden right behind him. He spins around and what does he see? He sees a miasma of ghostly, wispy, slightly off-white, and not quite an ecru, not as warm as an ecru, a little colder off-white, like a eggshell or seagull. And the miasma coalesces. It is a coalescent miasma in the form of his father, the king, who is dead. And the ghost says, my son. I would do Danish accent, but I have never practiced Danish accent, so I can do French, oui, oui, croissant. I can do Spanish. Sometimes I slip into the Spanish, but I still have the little bit of the Russian, the Moldovan. I can do German on off day. Schnell, schnell, raus! Danish, don't know. So go with me. The father is speaking. You apply Danish accent. My son, avenge me. Revenge for my dead, non-sleeping soul. I cannot find peace until you find revenge on my murderer. Hamlet is freaked the fuck out. Why? Because this is the first time that anyone tells him his father has been murdered. But father, he says in appropriate Danish accent, which I do not have, how is it you are murdered? You died in your sleep. And the king says, in fancy language that rhymes every other line in a syllable sequence we call iambic pentameter, the father says. So you have to do iambic pentameter, you have to rhyme, and you have to do the Danish accent. You got a lot of freaking homework, my friends. You know, I will let you listen without doing that homework if you will donate to City X1 by going to Cash App and finding $LASPI or going to ladragnuns.org, clicking on donate and on PayPal and donating. What you $5 is fine. $20 is great. You have $100, you are feeding children and keeping them off street away from pimps and human traffickers. But if you only $5, I know you listening to Sister Boonity, you are probably an artist yourself. $5. Skip lunch. Oh, am I kidding? $5 does not get you lunch anymore. Hamlet says to his father, you were asleep and you died in your sleep. You were out. You were sleeping under a tree in field. How now you murdered? Father says, I was asleep, and the one who killed me approached silently, like the fly, like the snake, like the owl. And into my ear he poured venom. He collected the venom of spiders and snakes and poisonous things like the duck-billed platypus that has one poisonous spur on the back of his little webbed foot. It's true, look it up. And this mixture, this very toxic mixture, he poured into my ear. And quickly my body began to die. But before I died completely, I went into spasms and convulsion, which opened my eye and I saw the man who killed me. It was my brother, Claudius, your uncle. Hamlet was stunned. He thought to himself, I have always hated that man. He's so awful. Every Christmas he tries to touch my nuts. He's a weirdo. It is not weirdo to touch nuts, except Hamlet was little boy and family member, and you get the picture. I knew something was bad about the man, but I never suspected murder. And the king's ghost said, avenge me against my brother, your uncle. And disappears. Poof. Like homosexual. Poof. Hamlet goes back to bed, still unsure this is dream or reality. Next day, wakes up, goes to breakfast, goes to lunch, remembers, but thinks it's dream, not sure, weird. That next night, he goes to bed again, depressed over the loss of his beloved father, and he is awakened again by the strange moaning sound. He follows the moaning sound again. It is out on the battlements of the palace. And again the ghost of his father appears to him and says, my son, avenge me. Kill your uncle. He has poisoned me. I cannot rest until my soul is freed. The revenge on my murderer will liberate my soul. This time, after the ghost goes away, Hamlet goes to one of the guards, one of the sentries. He says, have you been on the guard watch many nights? The guard sentry says, yes, I do 5 nights a week. Then I go home and eat an onion and a piece of bread on night off. Hamlet says, you seen any weird things, supernatural things, perhaps? Guard says, my prince, my lord, there are so many weird things in this castle, I cannot even tell you. Did you hear the king, your father? He dies. He's like 50s, too young. He dies in his sleep. That's weird. But I would not know about weird things up here on the battlements. You see, I'm not a very good guard. I fall asleep every night. Sorry. Hamlet goes to his room, goes to sleep again. The next day he wakes up, he has breakfast. Guess what he has for breakfast? Can you guess what Prince Hamlet has for breakfast? Someone write in the comments. Instagram, you're writing more. If there's messages on YouTube, no one is writing. If you are writing and I cannot make sense of how YouTube messages work, then forgive me. I click on this thing, learn more. No, I don't want to learn more. I just want to see the message. There are no messages on YouTube. I don't know if anyone is on YouTube, so I look at Instagram. So I'm waiting for you to tell me what Prince Hamlet has for breakfast. Cheese. That is a very good guess, but that is lunch, the cheese. Let me give you a hint. What does Prince Hamlet of Denmark have for breakfast? What classical breakfast item does he have for breakfast in Denmark? Anyone? I see that Sister, come on, I wanna lay you has joined. I'm telling the ghost story from Denmark of Prince Hamlet and his dead father begging for revenge so his ghost can rest. And the question is, after he meets his father's ghost in the night, he goes to bed, he gets up in the morning, and he has breakfast. What does he have? I see the answer here. Yes! Yes! Only Dean. You should change your name to Only One Listening. He has a Danish! Oika Volt! You people. Shikses and Goyim. What? I'm from Moldova. We have a Jewish population. I learned things. I am drinking blood of the cranberry. And he gets the guard that he met that night reassigned. Terrible guard. That third night he goes to sleep again. And what do you think happens? You don't have to type it. I will tell you. He hears in his dream the moaning of his father's ghost. It wakes him up. Ham and cheese omelette? Someone on YouTube is telling me that he is for breakfast having the ham and the cheese omelette. No. That is what they have in United States and Britain and Germany. No, he has Danish. He has like a French pastry because Denmark imports chef from France. Because in Denmark, why would you eat oatmeal scones, muffins, when you can get French guy to come and make you fluffy pastry? French pastry chefs steal from Italians. All of French kings, they get chefs from Italy. And they take everything Italian and they shrink it and call it French. And that is a true story. No ghosts. But thank you for responding for the ham and cheese omelet. You know, I have not had dinner. I had to do all this for you for Halloween. So if you would like to mail me dinner, don't take the money instead and donate to City1X on Cash App, $LASPI, or go to ladragnons.org. Click on donate and donate through PayPal there. City1X1 is helping homeless LGBT youth, children on the streets of Los Angeles. So the third night he is awoken in the dream. He wakes up from the dream and still hears the moaning. He goes out on the battlement, and there again his father's ghost appears as a miasma of seagull-colored white cloud that coalesces into a coalescent miasma in the form of the former king, dead. His ghost says to Prince Hamlet, "Avenge me, my son. You must kill your uncle who killed me." Ghost goes away. Hamlet goes to head of guard and says to the head of the guards, "Has there been weird things on battlements since my father died?" Head of guard says, "You know, my prince, 5 different guards, the good ones, not the sleepy ones, report a ghost has walked the battlements every night since your father died. weeping and moaning and repeating the word revenge. This Hamlet knows now is true. He trusts 5 guards, he trusts, they're trained. So he begins to think how to do it. How to do it. How do you kill the uncle? Especially difficult because Hamlet, by the laws of the kingdom, is too young to take the crown. He is not yet of age. He's like 16, 18. Not yet of the age to take the crown. So his uncle, being nearest male relation, misogynist historical story. I apologize to all women. Should have been the king's wife, Gertrude. But it is Uncle Claudius who has the throne, the crown. So Hamlet is now having to plot how to kill the king. He is well guarded. He is the king. It is no small punishment if he kills him. He must expose him and kill him. So his crime is evident, which will give Hamlet an excuse to kill him if known in public. Hamlet can only think of this, only the revenge. His girlfriend comes to him to have like girlfriend-boyfriend time, and all he can talk about is murder. She freaks out. She does not know what happened to him. She keeps trying to be nice to him, trying to elicit the love that they had for each other. He yells at her. He abuses her emotionally. It is bad. He tells her, look, I'm not going to fuck you. Why don't you become a nun? Fuck off, I'm busy. He is a bit neurotic, this Hamlet. You think he is hero of story. He is just another human being with flaws like all human beings have. But his mind is focused on this one important family matter, to avenge his father's murder. He has no idea how to do it. When one day he's outside the palace and he sees in field beside the palace group of actors and actresses, and they are practicing play. And the play is about a general. The general, he comes from the country of Tunisia, but he is general of the army of a kingdom in Italy. And he has beautiful girlfriend from a very noble family in Italy. And he watches play. Hamlet watches the play. And to his great dismay and surprise, the general, his enemy, makes him jealous. And he kills his girlfriend. Dead. Then he finds out that his girlfriend was innocent. And he kills himself. Very dramatic play. Hamlet sees how well they play, how realistically. He is shocked. He is weeping. He feels it in his heart. And he thinks, wait a minute. I am watching the play. I'm crying. And I'm yelling out, no, don't. She's innocent. The theater is very powerful. The theater can change your behavior. The theater I can use as a trick to trick my uncle. That is what I will do. He said the play is the trick to catch the guiltiness of this fuckhead. You like how I rewrite Shakespeare? Yeah, I think he's more modern. So he goes to the troupe. He says, I give you lots of gold if you perform play before the king. I will write you this play. And they say, thank you so much. We are to perform tomorrow night for the king, but you are a prince. You cannot write play. We have dramaturg. Hamlet produces large sack of gold and says, hey. And they say, oh, well, fuck dramaturg, you write play. We do whatever you want. You want to do Golden Girls? We do Golden Girls for the king. We cannot do Friends. We lost a cast member. Can't do it. So shut up with it too soon. I'm undead. I can do these jokes. So Hamlet writes a play that is strikingly familiar. It is the story of a king who goes out to sleep in a field and whose brother pours poison in his ear, and the king dies. And the brother takes not only the throne, but the brother marries the queen of the dead king, Gertrude. Only in the play, her name is not Gertrude, it is Isolde. And the uncle marries the mother. Hamlet is very pleased with this play, gives it to actors, goes off. His mother pulls him into her bedchamber one day, that evening, and she wants to say, Hamlet, you have not spoken to me in such a long time since your father died. What is going on? I love you. And Hamlet says to her, you bitch. I don't talk to you because you're not my mother. You are the wife of that man. And she says, why are you cursing at me? Yes, I am the wife of your father's brother. That is an old custom. There is nothing wrong. And Hamlet says to her, you are like a whore for power. Could you not bear to leave aside being queen once your king has dead, but that you had to marry the new king to stay the queen? Are you that hungry for money and fancy clothing and your room in the palace and the crown? There's more to the story that I don't tell. He killed somebody, an old guy with very terrible advice, but he kills him. But that you have to go see the play to get that one. Watch the movie. Laurence Olivier, not Kenneth Branagh. And he leaves his mother. But before he goes, his mother says, why do you curse me so? What is so great in my mistake? Your uncle is ruling the kingdom. Everyone is safe. Denmark is happy. He is not bad king. Why? Hamlet says, you give over your womb to a murderer, and leaves. His mother is like, what the hell is going on? She goes to the King Claudius and says, I'm worried about Hamlet. I'm really worried. I think maybe he is gone crazy since father's death. We have to put him away somewhere. He is not right in the head. Claudius says, yes, that is terrible. What a tragedy. He's the heir to the throne. When I'm gone, it would have been him, but what to do? But he thinks in the back of his mind, is he crazy? Or does he know? And so he got two of Hamlet's friends who hang around the castle because they are gold diggers. Their name are Mr. Guildenstern and Mr. Rosencrantz. And he tells Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, take my nephew Hamlet to alumni get-together back overseas in England. And when you're on the ship, stab him and push him overboard. And they think, why do we do this to our friend? He is our friend. And the king says, one, he has gone crazy. It is bad for the kingdom if he stays around. If I die, then he becomes king. This crazy king is not good. You are doing an action for the state, and I, the king, sanction this action. Two, I give you a large bag of gold. I give you another one after it's done. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, being stupid, greedy assholes, take the bag of gold, promise to do the deed, and they take Hamlet and they go with Hamlet to the boat. Alumni thing, we're going to alumni thing. They get on the boat casts off. But Hamlet knows what is going on because Guildenstern and Rosencrantz are stupid and they have been discussing the murder of Hamlet in their cabin. Hamlet has cabin next door. He hears everything. Hamlet kills Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. He takes rowboat, jumps off boat, sails back, rows back to the land. It has not gone very far out. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they are around in the ship. Ship hits rocks, goes sinks. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. You know what? Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. I have to write that down. That will make good play. Hamlet gets back to castle, but he does not go in castle yet. He hides out. The play is about to begin that night. So he's hiding out in the graveyard next to the castle. He sees there is a new grave being dug. Who is the new grave for? He asks the grave digger, who is the grave for? And the grave digger says, it is for the lady Ophelia. And Hamlet's blood runs cold. Ophelia was his girlfriend, who he treated like shit. How did she die? She was very distracted. Her whole life was blown apart. The man she loved spurned her and was cruel to her. Her father was murdered. She killed herself because it is as her universe came apart. She drowned herself. Hamlet is sad and depressed and feels darkness encompass his soul. He finds another grave that is being dug, and he finds the bones of the previous occupant, because Denmark, a very old country, 1,000 years, 2,000 years already. So they have to dig up the old dead bodies to put in the new dead bodies. And he finds the skull going away, who had been there. And he recognizes the grave. It is his friend, Yorick. Yorick was a clown. He used to play with Hamlet when he was a boy, when he was a kid. He brought him toys. He made jokes. His father loved to watch them play together. He was so sweet to Hamlet. He taught Hamlet how to be funny. He exercised Hamlet's mind, made him think. This is why Hamlet went to Oxford. But here, Hamlet can hold the man's skull. That was his head, the sweet head with the dusty blonde hair and the funny hat with the bells. The cheeks he would pinch, well, they're gone. It is bone. The eye sockets are filled with dirt, with a worm coming out. That is it. You get 25, 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years. You be funny, you do things, you love, you eat, you shit. And then you are this skull getting dug up to be tossed aside. That's it. And then he gives very pretty speech about, you know what? This will be me. I'm going to die. Especially if my revenge against my uncle goes badly, I'm going to die. Yeah. I could freak out about this like Ophelia did. But I've got a job to do. You know, death will come today, or death will come years from now. If I worry about death years from now, I live okay today. If I worry about it today, and it may not happen years from now, why waste my time worrying? I think the point is to know that you're going to die then or now. You don't know. And in not knowing, you are free because you are ready for it. You stay ready for it. Get your brain in order and just be in a state of, I take this moment, I take this moment, I am ready for it when it happens, but I will live in this moment and do the best I can do in this moment, and then my life is full in this moment. He says this to the gravedigger. Then he goes back into the castle to kill his uncle. The play happens, everyone watching, and the actors one actor pours the fake poison into the ear of the other actor playing the king. The actor playing the king, he dies. And he points at the actor who poisoned him and says, my brother has murdered me. And Hamlet is watching Claudius. And the play ends and Claudius stands up and he says, I did not like the play. The play was terrible. What a terrible story to tell. This play, I think this play is suspicious. I think maybe I throw the actors in jail because I think they're trying to implicate me or something. Yes, terrible play. It is obvious. It is obvious that he has guilt. Hamlet knows you definitely killed my father. The next day, there is a sword fight. Just like a jousting match, just a fencing match between him and Ophelia's brother, Laertes. Also back from college, except he went to school in Paris where they learned to fence. Hamlet being a prince, he knows how to fence. So they're going to have a fencing match. Claudius knows that Hamlet knows because the play, he knows that Hamlet knows because Hamlet commissioned the play, so he knows. So he's got to get rid of Hamlet. Now it is who kills who. And Claudius goes to Laertes and he says, you know, Hamlet is the reason your sister Ophelia killed herself. So I will do this for you. You have a fencing match with Hamlet. I have this poison here. Let me take off the nubbin, the safety knob on the tip of your sword and dip it in this poison. Then you don't have to even win the match. You don't even have to stab him. Stab him if you want, but you don't have to. Scratch him once with the poison and he will die in minutes. Laertes says, my king, this I will do for my sister and my father, both of whom Hamlet killed. Claudius is very sure Laertes, trained in Paris, he's going to get him one scratch, at least. He's very sure he's gotten rid of Hamlet. But to hedge his bets, he gets the goblet, because Hamlet is a pimp. No, I'm just kidding. He gets the goblet of wine, because it's customary when someone scores a point, you give them a victory goblet of wine. So he thinks if Hamlet wins and doesn't get even a scratch, then I give him victory goblet and he drinks poison. I'm good with poison. Huh, look at me, I'm so good. So match happens that afternoon, fencing match. Queen Gertrude watches. King Claudius is there. Laertes and Hamlet are fighting. Hamlet stops the fight and says, wait a minute. Why do you have no safety knob on your sword? Laertes says, hello. My name is Laertes Inigo Montoya. You kill my father and my sister. Prepare to die. Hamlet takes the knob off of his sword as well, and he says, if that is the way, then that is the way. Let us fight. And they fight again. And Hamlet scores a point, and he scratches Laertes. Laertes is scratched, it hurts, but he's okay. But Claudius stands up and he says, Hamlet, you have gained a point, come, drink a sip from the victory cup, as is customary. And Hamlet says, thank you, my uncle, thank you very much, but I fight on, drink after fight. They fight again, Laertes and Hamlet and Laertes. Hamlet scratches Laertes on the leg, a second point. Laertes, it's just a scratch, but Claudius, again, Hamlet, you have scored a point. Drink from victory cup. Take one drink from victory cup. And Hamlet says, you know, father, no, I drink after. They fight again. And this time, Hamlet scratches Laertes one more time on the cheek. And Laertes is like, damn, you are too good. But you are getting tired, are you not? And Claudius stands up and says, drink, Hamlet, drink from the cup. Hamlet knows why Claudius wants him to drink. Hamlet knows Claudius has poisoned the drink. It's obvious because he's Claudius. He kills everyone with poison. But to his horror, his mother grabs goblet and says, my son is busy fighting. You will not drink. I drink for you and to toast you. And she quaffs big gulp of poison. Hamlet thinks to himself, I must run through the king. I must kill the king now. So he goes, takes his sword, points towards the king to go. But Laertes stands in his way and he says, no, have that fiend. I will have you first. And they fight. And Laertes but scratches Hamlet. And Hamlet says, I scratch you three times. You scratch me once. What can you do to me? Nothing. And Laertes says, oh, but no. I have thee now, villain. The tip of my sword is poisoned. You will be dead in minutes. And Hamlet looks at Claudius and he says, look what you have done. And he stabs Claudius immediately with his rapier. And Claudius dies immediately. Laertes says, what have I done? I forgot part. I forgot part. Hamlet says, as he kills Claudius, this is for the murder of my father. Gertrude stands up and says, what? What do you mean, murder of your father? Hamlet says his ghost has walked the castle battlements since his death. The guard captain can confirm his ghost came to me and said, revenge me, your uncle has killed me. Gertrude knew. She always knew. She's too afraid to let herself know. Laertes, she confirms, yes, it makes sense. It all makes sense. Laertes, he says, oh my God, what have I done? He kills himself. It's not the way it happened, but I forgot to kill him, so he kills himself. And then Laertes says, but Hamlet, my sword is poisoned. You are going to die. And Gertrude says, oh, my son, do not leave. And then she dies. And then Hamlet dies, and then Laertes dies, and they're all dead. And by the way, guess what? The king of Sweden was invading this whole time, and he burst in the castle at that very minute. That's kind of weird timing, is it not? And then he gives a funny speech. Months later, the king of Sweden is sleeping in his bed and dreaming about the castle he has just taken, when he hears moaning and groaning like he has never heard before. He wakes up. He goes out onto the battlement where the moaning is coming from. And what does he see? He sees 5 to 15 different ghosts of the royal family, and they're all wandering around the battlements going, hey, I was murdered. You were murdered. I drank this stupid poison. I didn't even know. Yeah, when I got scratched, I didn't even get stabbed. I got scratched and I poisoned. I killed myself. I don't know why. Everyone was dead. I thought maybe it's a trend. The end. The moral of the story is Denmark is chock full of ghosts. Book your Airbnb advisedly. That was the first ghost story. We have finished our first hour of ghost storytelling. I take pause, commercial break, to tell you about why I asked for a donation tonight. Then I will go into the other ghost stories. I will tell you 2 true ghost stories. They actually happened. Well, they're not ghost stories. They're scary stories. Then I will tell you a funny ghost story that I co-wrote with a man who has been dead for over 100 years. How did you do this, Sister Boonity? Because Sister Boonity is undead. I am like 7-Up, which is the uncola, except I am the undead. Perhaps because I am an undead sister of perpetual indulgence, I am the unknown. Yes. And the unknown. And the onion. You chop me up and put me in Thanksgiving stuffing. Or the French make soup out of me. The onion. Pardon me. while I refresh my drink. I need to make a little more of my potion. Let's take a little of the deadly nightshade leaf. I think also, yeah, why don't we take some of the skin of the lizard. Put that in. Also, I think maybe we will take a few dried toad eyeballs. I keep toad eyeballs in a jar for just such an occasion. I put a few of the toad eyeballs in. And last but not least, can you guess YouTube and Instagram? Can you guess what this ingredient is? It is very unusual, very rare. Can you guess what this is? I give you a hint. It is twice this size when it is fresh. It is squishy and moist when it is fresh. And unless it is removed and dried, no one ever who has one wants you to crush it, squeeze it. If it is dried and separate and in my own hand, they don't care. They're beyond caring. Can you guess what it is? Type in your answer. Nutmeg. Nutmeg is a spice. You put the nutmeg in eggnog. This is not nutmeg. But you are almost right in a semantic fashion. Can you guess what this ingredient is? It is not a ham and cheese croissant. I will give you a hint. Some of you in the audience have two of them. Others, they do not have these exactly. They have something like them in a different place. Now do you know what it is? I'm waiting for your answer. While I wait for your answer, what is this? I put it in my potion. There. Now I stir. Potion. Potion. No, it is not nutmeg. I told you, nutmeg is a sweet spice. It comes from Thailand and Indonesia. You put it on eggnog. No, this is something grotesque. I'm undead. Get with the program. Okay, I have made my potion with the blood of the cranberry, the skin of the lizard, the deadly nightshade leaf, the toad eyeball, and the secret ingredient, which is, I thought you would get this, dried, shriveled. It is shriveled, usually twice the size. Everyone who has one does not want you to squeeze it. Some of you have two of them. Some of you do not, except you have two things that are so vaguely similar in a different place. No one? Testicle! It is a testicle! It is someone's ball. I've crushed up a dried ball. A testicle. You could not get that. I've not done my job. I am a terrible undead dragnon. You could not get testicle. Do you not know me? Do you not follow my Instagram channel? Do you not follow my YouTube channel? You follow my channel, it will be very, very clear what it is, because I make jokes about naughty bits and gonads all the time. Yes, Adrienne. Yes, that is what it is, Adrienne. Daniele. Yes, my darling Daniele and Adrienne. It is a testicle. Let me pause a moment and get something. I will make you an offer a way that may help you to donate to City 1X. First, if there are children watching, do not watch this part. It is a no-no for children. I already put on the YouTube, this was not for children. So this part is really not for children. Although I'm going to show you a work of art. It is a work of art that Sister Boonity has made herself. And if you donate $150 to City 1X through the sisters, you can scan the barcode here, and this will take you to the sisters' LinkedIn. There it is for Instagram. It will take you to the sisters' LinkedIn. Sorry about the shine on it. Maybe I'll take it out of the plastic so you can see it without the shine. There you go. So go there, scan. I don't know, if you're watching me on your phone, I don't know how you're going to scan your own phone, but there it is. So you can do that and scan the QR code. You can also, this will be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I saved the whole thing. You can just fast forward through it, get to the QR code and scan it that way on your laptop. There it is for you on YouTube. Scan this. This will take you to the sisters' LinkedIn. On the sisters' LinkedIn page, there will be two ways to donate. One is Cash App, the other is PayPal. If you do not want to or cannot do the QR code, then I tell you how to find us on Cash App and PayPal. On Cash App, you open the app and you go to $LA sisters. Excuse me, I got that wrong. That's our old internet address. You go to LASPI. LASPI. $LASPI. That is how you find us on Cash App. LASPI. On Cash App. $LASPI. For PayPal, go to this website of the sisters. LADragnuns.org. LADragnuns.org. You can use the old address, lasisters.org, if you like, if you bookmark it, because we have a 301 redirect, which will take you to the website, all the same. But you go there and click on the donate menu item. It will take you to the donation page where you can then donate with PayPal. The first person to donate $150 will get this drawing by Sister Boonity for sorry, you're seeing ring light there. For Instagram, there it is. For YouTube, there it is. Pen and ink on paper, 5x7 is size. Title of piece is Scrotum number 14. Drawn by Sister Boonity. $150 donation gets you this piece of artwork, not a print. This is original. If you bid if you give $150 and you are not first person to give, because I am blind, I can tell who's first person. It will take tomorrow. Sister Miracle Treasure will look and see who is first person. Anyone donating $150 will also get framed drawing of scrotum from Sister Boonity. It will not be this one. It will be original hand drawing of scrotum, similar in style, different anatomically, but it will be scrotum, but similar in drawing style. So you get the idea. Paper, black ink, lines and dots, that's technique. So all donations of $150 get spooky scrotum from Sister Unity. Everyone who donates, not everyone who donates, I have two people who can donate, let us say $50. If you donate $50, I will give you one of Sister Unity's faces. How do you give Sister Unity's face? Are you going to kill her and cut it off of her? Does she have to put lotion in basket? When Sister Unity disappears, she uses cloth, somewhere between paper and cloth, with secret solution that absorbs makeup quickly. And she makes impression on cloth, suitable for framing, abstract piece of artwork representing Sister Unity. This one, $50, it is yours. You can pick it up or I ship it to you. This one, a little different, is mostly eyeballs. This one, $40. $40 for this one. First donator of 50 and 40 who says in note with donation, I want Sister Unity's face on cloth, will get Sister Unity's face on cloth. If more than one person donates $50 and asks for Sister Unity's face on cloth, Sister Unity will be manifesting all through the year, and Sister Unity will make more of this and give you one. So everyone who donates tonight, $50 gets a Sister Unity face when it becomes available. Someone could get Sister Boonity's face when Sister Boonity is done with it. Impression will be made. Yes, I will make sure, someone is asking, can they get it signed? The artwork will be signed by the artist for the $150 donation. The face cloths will be signed somehow, probably with Sharpie, because cloth is not smooth surface. I will make sure Sister Unity signs face cloth. So yes, they will be signed. How do you get them? You get QR code. You go to Cash App, go to $LASPI, or you go to www.LA-Dragnon. What is Sister Candy? Are you watching? I need to know the ASL sign for Dragnon. I know none is this. What is the sign for drag? Is it just drag? Drag none. This was a sign invented by a sign language person, interpreter, who gave us this for the LA sisters because of what we wear on our heads. So my name sign is Sister. Oh no, I'm Sister Boonity, because Sister Unity's name sign is Sister Unity, but I am Sister Boonity, which begins with B. So I do Boonity. I made that up right now. No idea if it works. Anyone who speaks sign language, if you would please tell me, terrible sign, good sign. I don't know. What also, Sister Candy, what is the ASL sign for boo? boo? Is there a sign for boo? Is it like boo or like boo? Or I don't know. I wish I had continued with my education in the ASL. So you go to www.ladragnons, plural, .org, not com, org, because we are not communist. Sister Luce may be communist. I am not communist. Okay, I am democratic socialist, maybe like that. Catch me on a good day, I'm communist. And you go to the donate tab, there is button on that page for PayPal donation. We figure out who gets artwork later. This is for homeless children and teenagers. Okay? This is for 15-year-old who have to suck cock for food or place to sleep that is not under overpass. Give. Do you know? I learned this last month. Of the 3,000 to 5,000 homeless LGBT children on the streets of LA, on any given night, of these 3,000 to 5,000 children, 50% of them, half of the children thrown out of their families, will die before the age of 30 years old. That is a fact. Suicide, addiction, a combination of the two are the biggest killers, ways that they die. They don't make it into the meaningful part of adulthood. They don't get to answer questions about life that take time and experience. They don't get to experience a full life. They don't get to experience the fruits and the rewards of their own labor after having a career. All the things that we in our 40s and 50s and 60s take for granted. They die in their 20s or in their teens. That is why I ask you to give, so that the few organizations like City X1 who are helping them can get them off the streets, clean them, help them get education, help them get jobs, and have a life. How do I know it works? How do I know it's not recidivism? Because I know Sister Mary fucking Poppins, and Mary fucking Poppins personally took in and housed and fed and got educated and working 30 to 32, I don't remember, over 30 young men who had been kicked out, who were on the streets. She helped them personally. It took years. We're talking several decades. And now the majority of them live good lives. I have met 5, 6, 7 of them. They are wonderful men. Sure, they have this problem and that problem. They need therapy. They'll never recover from blah. But they are alive and they are working and they are contributing to society. I've been in therapy myself for 28 years. So like, what have I got that they don't got? So they're good. But because there was someone to take them in, this is the job, the raison d'etre of City X1. And that is why I ask you to donate what you can. $5, $10, $50, $150. You get tasticles. Okay, that was the pitch. Now back to the stories. Let us see what is on this schedule. I think we don't tell the ghost truck stop story. It is old story. I give you the Lizzie Borden update. You want the Lizzie Borden update? I give you the Lizzie Borden update. I have so much table space. It's No table space. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are familiar with Sister Unity's best friend, sorry about that, come on, I want to lay you. It is long ass bitch. Well, that is a new rubber chicken. What happened to the old rubber chicken? I hear you ask. Where is Sister Unity's old rubber chicken? Don't you know? When Sister Unity is done with her rubber chicken, she gives it to me. I take it to the underworld, to Tartarus, where I live. Not Hades. Oh no, too nice. I live with the Titans in Tartarus, the deepest and darkest of hell. And what happens to the chicken after living with me for a year in Tartarus? It becomes my chicken. Behold, the rubber chicken of Sister Boonity. Scary chicken, yeah? My favorite part of doing this live scream cast every year. Let me just check messages, see if I miss anything important. Sister Crap did not make appearance. Not Crap holiday. You want Sister Crap, you come back MLK Day or Easter. These are Sister Crap holidays. MLK Day, Easter, July 4th also. Boo is just finger spelled out. The sign for boo is boo. Just boo. It needs a cool sign, does it not? Sign for boo now should be, I want it to be boo. Right? Go, how about like this? Boo. There. That way you got the B and the O's, but you get the sense of like floating in the air and haunting you. It's also like the sound coming out. Boo! I am not a member of the deaf community, so I have no say in creating a sign. I'm a theater person. When I was alive, I merely make friendly suggestions. Perhaps sign for boo could be boo. You tell me. Drakena's hand sign, you will tell me later. Thank you. I will appreciate this very much. My wish is that one day I can do all live scream in my own sign language, doing the translation for myself. If there is anyone who wants to take time to caption the videos of Sister Boonity and do closed captioning that YouTube let you do, contact me. I would very much, through Instagram or YouTube messages, contact me. I would very much like to have these available with captions for the people who cannot hear. Right. I had promised you to the update about Lizzie Borden. That is the truck stop ghost story. I don't do that one now. Maybe we do that later. Don't know. Here is the update on the Lizzie Borden house. First of all, her house is near to where Sister Boonity and Unity's father once lived in southeastern Massachusetts. Lizzie Borden's house was in Fall River, Massachusetts. Or tonight, Massachusetts. Ooh, boo. Here is house of Lizzie Borden. It was in this house father and mother of Lizzie Borden were hacked to pieces. No, I don't mean that someone from Ghana or Nigeria on internet got into their computers and rearranged their software. I mean with an axe in this house, which they say is haunted. Let me tell you. Oh, was I holding that? That was not good for YouTube. Okay, down here, YouTube. There, now you both have it. Okay. It was on August 4th, 1892, 120 something years ago. Andrew Borden and his wife Abby Borden were brutally murdered in Fall River, Massachusetts. Murder was not all that uncommon in the late 1800s, apparently. But the fact they were bludgeoned to death and chopped with axe, and that the main suspect was their 32-year-old daughter, Lizzie Borden. That was unusual. The story went around the world. Her name is permanently linked with the killings, even though she was acquitted. There are those who believe that it could have been done by her, possibly her sister, who had mental health issues, and that Lizzie was covering up for the sister. The truth may never be known. What is sure is that the father and the mother are dead. Now it is a bed and a breakfast and a museum. There are history buffs and ghosty people who like to come and see for themselves if the rumors that the house is haunted are true. Quote, when I started working here, it was more of the history I wanted. I really didn't care about the paranormal, says Suzanne St. John, a realtor and a tour guide at the Lizzie Borden house. They told Today.com. However, all that changed after St. John says she experienced a few unusual happenings of her own. Quote, guests tell us they hear laughing and playing in the middle of the night. Things get moved around. She says, and St. John has experienced a few unusual things herself, saying that once she discovered toys scattered across the room that no one had been in. Spooky toys. Spooky Barbie. St. John also talks of the article only quoted one person. They're going to go testimony of one person. That would not convict Al Capone. St. John also talks of a picture that fell over and slid 2 feet across the floor without any plausible explanation, as well as a closet door that once opened on its own volition. Okay, anyone who has lived in a house older than 50 years old has had the closet door open on its own. I'm just saying. Spooky closet. Maybe inside there were spooky clothings. On the eve of the anniversary of... I put down house. You mind? I put down house. On the eve of the anniversary of Andrew and Abby's murder, St. John says that she and 2 other tour guides at the house felt a sudden, sharp, piercing pain in their left eyeball. The same exact location of Andrew Borden's fatal injuries. Hack. Next year for Halloween, you go as someone from 1892 and put a scar here and carry bloody axe and see who guesses you are Andrew Borden. Perhaps most unsettling, however, is the story St. John tells of a tour guide at the Lizzie Borden house who asked her group to silence their cell phones before beginning the tour. Shut it off. Moments later, the cell phone of a guest rang. The guest looked up and said, "It's my mom." The tour guide asked if she wanted to leave and take the call, to which the woman replied, "She died 2 years ago." Strange goings on in the house of Lizzie Borden. Spooky. Goodbye to House of Lizzie Borden. I will tell you another true story, also from Massachusetts. But first, a spooky magic trick. So I show you the power of the undead nun. In fact, for contribution of $500, Sister Boonity or Unity, maybe Sister Pickle, who knows? You tell me, Sister Crap, who do you want? Will come to your party and perform 20 minutes of magic. True. You donate $500 to City X1 and Sister fill in name here will come to your party in next 12 months and perform 20-minute magic show with silly jokes. How do you know she can do magic? I, the undead, will show you the power of the nuns. I will show it to you with something I got from the kitchen. Sorry, no magic wand, no rabbit coming out of hat. It is just cake pan. I make cake pan. Sort of, it is a steel aluminum alloy tagine. So as you see, it is empty, right? Empty. What I put something in it to show you it is empty. Look, it is it's empty. Mr. Pink Communist Fag Chicken Fag fits in it. It is empty cake pan. No false bottom. You see, very thin. No false bottom. The only false bottom here was Sister Come On. I want to lay you a few years ago when she said she was a bottom, but there was no bottoming. Sister Candy knows this. I will apologize to you later, Sister Come On. I want to lay you. All right, so I'm going to cover it with its cake pan cover, like a tagine. And now I shake it around. What's that? It sounds like maybe there's something loose. You know what we do? I'm going to have to use magic to find out what is going on inside of this cake pan. And to do that, I'm going to have to mutate myself. Abracabubra. Hocus pocus. These are magic spells for nuns. Cardinal Strickland, be banished from whence you came, Texas. Say it with me 3 times. Say, Boonity, Boonity, Boonity. Ready? When I tap the top, say it once. And we do 3 times. Boonity, Boonity, Boonity! Now there is a delicious chicken pot pie! That is dinner tomorrow night. Wednesday night is chicken pot pie night. $500 donation. Sister Boonity or whoever comes to your party and does stupid, silly magic tricks for 20 minutes, probably longer because she's a ham and you can't get her off stage. You don't believe me? You ask Sister, come on, I want to lay you, or Sister Candy, who are both here. At least one of them is here. The other one probably fell asleep. It is past her bedtime. Next ghost story. Are you ready? I am not. I need more liquid refreshment from my blood potion. Excuse me. A lady demurs to drink in public. I drink through long red proboscis like mosquito who drank from my body last night. You would not believe the bite it gave me. Ugh. Next ghost story is true ghost story with some little surprises for you. When I come to Seattle, Adrienne, for $500 is the show. How to get Sister Boonity to Seattle is whole other question. Arrangements would have to be made for flight. Sister Boonity does not have a lot of money lying around, so don't know how that will work, but would be willing to go to Seattle for sure. If you are not in Los Angeles and want Sister Boonity to perform, make $500 donation to City X1 and help Sister Unity get to where you are somehow. And we'll see that if we can do that. So to answer your question, anything is possible. Yes, it is a tagine. It is a modern aluminum tagine. It is a Japanese interpretation or a Chinese interpretation of a tagine. You know what they do. Everything is in metal. Questioning me about my tagine, honestly, makes you want to be undead, not undead. So what I'm going to read to you now is not a ghost story per se. It is a story about witches and the dead. It is a true horror story that actually happened over 400 years ago. I want to read to you some excerpts from the Salem witch trials. I have a particular interest in some of the worst cases, the worst victims of the witch trials, the proctors, which will be known to you from the play of The Crucible. The Crucible paid a lot of attention to the proctors, but there were many people victimized by these horrible trials. But the proctors interest me in particular for two reasons. I tell you them at the end, my personal connection to them at the end of the story. So, Elizabeth Proctor and her husband, John Proctor. Elizabeth Barrett Proctor, Barrett her maiden name, she was John Proctor's third wife. First wife, he had 5 children, 4 died. Benjamin, his oldest, survived. And second wife, 7 children, don't know how many died. She died. The 2 wives died in childbirth. Those were the days. Republicans want us to go back to that kind of medical care. The last wife, the third wife, was Elizabeth Barrett. Then Elizabeth Barrett Proctor. 7 children. Not only were John and Elizabeth accused of being witches, but many of their children were accused. Benjamin Proctor was accused as well. the eldest son. John Proctor had bought his father, John Proctor Sr., had many properties in the town of Ipswich. Funny that the witch trials did not happen. They happened in Salem. They did not happen in Ipswich because Ipswich even has witch in the name. Putting the witch back into Ipswich. They happened in Salem, which is not in the same place that Salem is in now. It was I think in Gloucester, what is now Gloucester then. It moved. So everyone is going to Salem now in Massachusetts. And they're like, I feel the energy of the witches. No, you feel the energy of the tourist shops. Best yet is the evangelical extremists who go to Salem and they have these prayer sessions in public trying to like expel the evil energy of the witches and convert people to the light of Christ. The funny thing is, it's not the place where the witches were. I'm sure there are many witches there now, yes. Anyway, back to the story. Elizabeth Proctor, after she was apprehended. So John Proctor leaves his father's in Ipswich, his many properties he helped his father run, and he goes to Salem, but he is a mile south of the village part, on the outskirts, on a farm, a big, huge farm that he, Elizabeth, and the children are all running this farm. So it's not like they're in the town, you know, going next door and going, boo, and the witch, boo. They're doing their work on the farm. And some asshole, superstitious asshole, oh no, sorry, it was the 11-year-old girls who said, oh, I'm all possessed, I'm acting all funny. You know, one Sister Boonity worked as a clown for birthday parties, where Sister Boonity learned magic. The worst party in 5 years in Sister Boonity's career, when she was still alive, was in Encino, in a wealthy neighborhood of white family. Birthday party for 8-year-old, 9-year-old little girls, with all of them with blonde hair little girls who grabbed and pinched and kicked and bit the clown. 20 minutes of this, and Sister Boonity, and then a clown and alive, left. Why? Not because of the kicking and the biting and the scratching, but because the 8-year-old and 9-year-old girls ran to the house. All the adults inside the living room, far away, drinking, no supervision whatsoever. The little girls ran into the house to get kitchen knives, yelling, we're going to play kill the clown. We're going to play kill the clown. Seriously. Sister Boonity was not stupid. She could tell these girls had no supervision. The vigor and vehemence with which they had been beating on Sister Boonity was not jokey, I kick you. It was for real, I'm going to fucking hurt you kicking. Sister Boonity hightailed it out of the Encino party and let his boss deal with the refund later. It was horrible. Little girls, unsupervised and spoiled. I'm talking bad seed territory. You give me those shoes! Lightning bolt. So I'm just armchair speculation what happened in Salem with 11-year-old girls calling people witches. So she was Elizabeth Proctor. They go to farm, they take her, they bring her to Salem Village Meeting House on April 11, examined by Judge Thomas Danforth. Now there's a whole town named Danforth, Massachusetts. So all these people owed money. According to the court records, I quote now, transcript from trial. The questioner, Judge Danforth. Excuse moment, Sister Boonity has very unusual undead mucus. Hazards of the trade. Elizabeth Proctor, you understand whereof you are charged, to be guilty of sundry acts of witchcraft. What say you to it? Speak the truth, and so that you are, and so you that are afflicted, speak the truth to Elizabeth, and so you who are afflicted, you must speak the truth, as you will answer before God another day. So speak the truth now, or you go to hell. Mary Walcott, one of the little girls, doth this woman hurt you? Mary Walcott says, I never saw her so as to be hurt by her. Danforth, Mary Lewis, does she hurt you? Mary Lewis's mouth was stopped. No, she says nothing. Ann Putnam, little girl, does she hurt you? Ann Putnam could not speak. Abigail Williams, does she hurt you? Abigail Williams' hand was thrust in her own mouth. Weirdo. John, does she hurt you? John says, this is the woman that came in her shift, her simple nightdress, and choked me. Danforth, did she ever bring the book? The book is it's this thing. There was this meme in the consciousness about witches in colonial Massachusetts. The book is the book of witches, or the book of the devil. The witches have the book of the devil, and they take it to you and they make you read from it and sign your name in it, and then the devil has possession of your soul, like the opposite of the book of life. That is what they believe. They believe Elizabeth Proctor has the book of the devil. Did they ever go to her house to find the book of the devil? Did they ever produce the book of the devil in court? No, because the whole thing is fucking bullshit. Did she ever bring the book? John says, yes, sir. Danforth, what to do? John, to write. Danforth, what? This woman? This woman? John, yes, sir. Danforth, are you sure of it? John, yes, sir. Again, Abigail Williams and Putnam were spoke to by the court, by Danforth, but neither of them could make any answer by reason of dumbness, because they were having fits, writhing on the floor, making weird noises and wiggling around, according to the accounts. Danforth, what do you say, Goody Proctor? Goody Proctor is like saying Miss Proctor, Mrs. Proctor, like good wife, good woman, just a formal surname kind of a thing. Her name was Elizabeth Proctor, but you call her Goody Proctor. And the man, you say good man Proctor. What do you say, Goody Proctor, to these things? Goody Proctor, I take God in heaven to be my witness that I know nothing of it, no more than a child unborn. It was very difficult for Sister Boonity to say the G word just then. So you see the testimony? That's how they run the court. Did she hurt you? Yes, she hurt me. Oh, yeah, well, she's clearly a witch. As the examination continued, Elizabeth Proctor's accusers began to shift their attention to Elizabeth's servant, Mary Warren, and her husband, and Elizabeth's husband, John Proctor. Danforth, Abigail Williams, little girl, does this woman hurt you? Abigail, yes, sir. Often. Danforth, does she bring the book to you? Abigail, yes, often. Danforth, what would she have you do with it? Abigail, to write in it, and shall be well. Did you not, said Abigail, tell me that your maid had... No, wait. Sorry, that's Danforth. Danforth, did you not, Abigail, tell me that your maid had written? Goody, he says it to Goody Proctor. Goody Proctor says, No, Abigail says this. I see. Abigail says, did you not tell me that your maid had written in the book of the devil? Goody Proctor responds to Abigail, the 11-year-old writing on the floor. Dear child, it is not so. There is another judgment, dear child. Then after this, Abigail and Anne, two of the little girls, they had fits. And by they cried out, look you, there is Goody Proctor upon the beam. Like poof, she is a witch, and she appeared, they were pretended they were seeing her poof under the beam in the courtroom ceiling. And by both of them cried out of Goodman Proctor himself, John Proctor, and said he was a wizard. Immediately, many, if not all of the bewitched, the little girls, had grievous fits. It reminds you of the Monty Python sketch. She's a witch, she turned me into a newt. It got better. Danforth. Ann Putnam, who hurt you? Ann Putnam. Goodman Proctor and his wife, too. Afterwards, some of the afflicted cried, there is Proctor going to take up Mrs. Pope's feet. And her feet were immediately taken up. I don't know what that means. Danforth. What do you say, Goodman Proctor, to these things? Goodman Proctor replies, I know not. I'm innocent. Abigail Williams cried out, there is Goodman Proctor going to Mrs. Pope. And immediately the Mrs. Pope, she fell into a fit. So now she's acting or something. You know, it reminds one of the evangelical healing things where the crowd is on their feet and the man is screaming about the power of God and Jesus, and he has the person walk up with the crutches, and he goes, be healed, and hits him on the forehead, and he falls backward, and his assistants pick him up, and they take away the crutches, and he walks 1-2 steps, and it's a miracle. Then they give him the crutches back, and he hobbles back on the crutches. But the people believe it is true. They believe it is happening. It is like the power of the, what do you call the pill that's not a real pill? You take the real pill and then they test with a sugar pill. What is that called? Not a panacea, it's a placebo. The placebo effect. Like the placebo effect is a measured psychological effect, a phenomenon. These people bought into their whole thing, and there was, yes, the power of suggestion is exactly right, exactly what you are saying. Don't worry, David, you're late, but there's lots more to go. I'm reading transcripts of the actual Salem witch trials of Elizabeth Proctor, Goody Proctor, and John Proctor, her husband, Goodman Proctor. So Mrs. Pope is now going into fits. You see, the devil will deceive you. The children could see what you was going to do before the woman was hurt. I would advise you to remember. I would advise you to repentance, for the devil is bringing you out. Abigail Williams cried out again. There is Goodman Proctor going to hurt Goody Beaver. Oh my God, Justin Bieber's ancestors. And immediately Goody Beaver also fell into a fit. It is like the reverse of the Christian healing things. There was the like of Mary Walcott, one of the little girls, and diverse others. Benjamin Gould gave in his testimony that he had seen Goodman Corey, and his wife, Proctor, and his wife, Goody Cloyce, Goody Nurse, and Goody Griggs in his chamber last Thursday night. Not that they came over to his house, he means, I saw them like a vision. The witches appeared before me, very spooky. So he's accusing all of these women. And John Proctor. Elizabeth Hubbard was in a trance during the whole examination. So she's like, oh, I'm in trance. Don't ask me questions. Probably the only safe way out. Oh, I'm afflicted. Don't accuse me because I'm afflicted. During the examination of Elizabeth Proctor, Abigail Williams and Ann Putnam, two of the girls afflicted, both made offer to strike at said Proctor. But when Abigail's hand came near, it opened, whereas it was made up into a fist before and came undone exceedingly lightly as it drew near to said Proctor, and at length was open and extended fingers touched Proctor's hood very lightly. Immediately Abigail cried out, her fingers burned, oh my fingers, oh they are burning. And Putnam took on most grievously of her head and sunk down. Do you understand what the girls did there? Anne Abigail went to hit Elizabeth Proctor, Goody Proctor, went to hit her in the head like this, and as the hand got close, the hand went, or Abigail made it go, open fingers, and then like, I'm gonna hit you, oh no, and then lightly touched the hood, like the handmaiden's tale hood of Elizabeth Proctor, and the minute it touched it, she cried out, oh my hand, oh my fingers, they are burning, oh my fingers, they are burning. This is about as credible as Donald Trump's innocence. Did anyone of the court get up and go and touch Elizabeth Proctor's hood to see if it makes your fingers burn? Did anyone go over and touch the fingers? Was there a doctor to go and examine Abigail's fingers to find out if they were burning, had blisters, turned a bit red? No. It is not known exactly, this is the historian writing, it is not known exactly why the afflicted girls targeted Elizabeth Proctor. In the 1953 play, The Crucible, Arthur Miller, Abigail Williams, he writes her depicted as having had an affair with John Proctor. And she becomes jealous of Elizabeth Proctor, so she fingers her, so to speak. The age difference between Abigail and John, however, is Abigail was 11, John was 60, and it makes it unlikely. And there's no proof of this affair. It's just Miller writing. But Miller did write in an essay in the New Yorker in 1996 that there was a moment during Elizabeth Proctor's examination when Abigail raises her hand to strike Elizabeth, we just heard it, that convinced him that John and Abigail had an affair. I don't know how that convinced him. He said, in this remarkably observed gesture of a troubled young girl, I believe the play became possible. Elizabeth Proctor had been the orphaned Abigail's mistress. And they had lived together, not sexual mistress, but had taken care of her, had been in charge of her, maybe like a nursemaid or a governess. And they had lived together in the same small house until Elizabeth fired the girl. Abigail was 11. She, being an orphan, had to work to survive. She was working in Elizabeth's house like a maid, a mistress and a maid. But Elizabeth fired Abigail. Elizabeth fired the girl. By this time, I was sure, Arthur Miller is writing, John Proctor had bedded Abigail, who had dismissed. He had dismissed her, most likely to appease Elizabeth. There was bad blood between the women now. That Abigail started, in effect, to condemn Elizabeth to death with her touch, then stopped her hand, then went through with it. It was quite suddenly the human center of all this turmoil. That is Arthur Miller's assumption. So Elizabeth is condemned as a witch. John Proctor is condemned as a wizard, and they are sentenced to death. In April, due to overcrowding in the Salem jail, gee, wonder why it was so crowded, Elizabeth Proctor was transferred to a jail in Boston, along with Rebecca Nurse, Martha Corey, Dorothy or Dorcas Good, and Sarah Cloyce. The following month, 3 of the Proctor's children, William, Benjamin, and Sarah, were also accused and arrested, as was Elizabeth Proctor's sister, Mary Bassett DeRich, and her sister-in-law, Sarah Bassett. Sarah Bassett and Sarah Proctor were both accused on May 21st by John and Thomas Putnam on behalf of Abigail Williams, Mary Walcott, Mercy Lewis, and Ann Putnam Jr., the little girls, and they were arrested shortly after they were accused. Benjamin Proctor, the Proctor's oldest son, was accused a few days later on May 23rd by Nathaniel Ingersoll and Thomas Raymond on behalf of Mary Warren, Abigail Williams, Elizabeth Hubbard, and were arrested by Marshal Deputy John Putnam. William Proctor was accused, a son, on May 28th by Mary Walcott and Susan Sheldon and arrested by Constable John Putnam. Blah, blah, blah. Again, from the transcript, I read to you. The deposition of Mary Warren, aged about 20 years, do testifieth and saith, oh, so the girls were not all 11. Mary Warren was as old as 20, but Abigail was 11. I have often seen the apparition of Elizabeth Proctor, the wife of John Proctor, among the witches, and she hath often tortured me most grievously by biting me and choking me and pinching me and pressing my stomach till the blood came out of my mouth. And also upon the day of her examination, I saw her torture Mary Walcott, Mercy Lewis, Ann Putnam, Elizabeth Hubbard, Abigail Williams, and she hath ever since at times tortured me most grievously. Mary Warren owned this here testimony to be true, and the jurors of inquest, this 30th of June, 1692. Lies or hysteria? Or was it true and they were all witches and got found out? After their arrests, many of the Proctor's friends banded together and signed a petition declaring them innocent and asked for their release. Here are words from this petition. We whose names are underwritten, having several years known John Proctor and his wife, to testify that we never heard or understood that there were ever suspected to be guilty of the crime now charged upon them, and several of us being their near neighbors, to testify that to our apprehension they lived Christian life in their family, and were ever ready to help such as stood in need of their help. Nathaniel Felton signed, and his wife Mary, Samuel Marsh and Priscilla, his wife, and names, lots of names of the people who signed. Neither the petition nor the letter John Proctor sent to the Boston clergy in July, pleading that the trials be moved to Boston, where things were not so crazy, helped their situation. On August 5th, 1692, both Elizabeth and John Proctor were found guilty and sentenced to death. In Massachusetts, birthplace of America. Since Elizabeth was pregnant at the time of her conviction, her execution was postponed until after she gave birth. John Proctor pleaded for more time as well, claiming he was too ill for the execution, being 60, which then was old. Now it is the new 30. But John Proctor was hanged on August 19th, 2 weeks after the trial. John Proctor was hanged. Elizabeth Proctor did give birth to the child in jail, but by the time she gave birth, the trials had ended. The governor of Massachusetts had stepped in and put an end to the insanity of the witch trials. She lived, but her husband and a number of her children did not. They did not burn witches in Salem. They burned them in Scotland and Germany and in England. Anne Boleyn was beheaded, not burned, because she was convicted of witchcraft. And another point, it is correct to say they were hanged. A person is hanged. A penis is hung. Hanged, hung. People are hanged. Neckties, clothing at the dry cleaners, and penises are hung. Remember, do me a favor. Sister Boonity will haunt you if you get it the other way around. Hanged. Why do I focus on the Proctors? Because when Sister Boonity was in high school, Sister Boonity was taught American history by Mr. Proctor, a direct descendant of the Proctors. And he himself, as a historian, took a great interest in his ancestors' fate and the trials that did them in. Reason number two is because Sister Boonity descends from a line of people that settled the Northeast in Maine and Boston in the earliest of days. One of Sister Boonity's ancestors is in the Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. One of Sister Boonity's ancestors, living in Portland, Maine, owned important pieces of land in Portland, Maine, since the colonizers first went there. Yes, Sister Boonity is descended from European colonizers in the land of the Abenaki people. What happened was this. You may not know. Sister Boonity did not know until doing own research. But they don't teach in many elementary schools or high schools. The King Philip Wars were the wars where the Native Americans of a number of northeastern tribes banded together and waged war on the English and other colonists, trying to get them out of the land because the colonists had started to fuck them over. The Wampanoag had welcomed the Pilgrims, had helped the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims lived with them friendly for a year or two. Then they started to take the Wampanoag's land and to kill them and fuck them over. So the King Philip Wars were the wars where the indigenous people fought back. In Portland, Maine, Sister Boonity's ancestors, some of them were killed by an invasion of the Abenaki, who paddled from Peaks Island in Casco Bay around to the Back Bay and came ashore at the farm of Sister Boonity's ancestor. And they killed him, and they took his wife and his children, and so the genealogy tells us, as slave, and they took them back, and they brought them back to their own places where they lived. And after a year, they let them go. And the ancestors of Sister Boonity went to their grandfather's house in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which was also attacked by the Native Americans, and the grandfather was killed. And then another one went back to Portland, Maine after it was left alone for like 20 years. And then they went back and tried to get the farm going again. And then there was another attack and they were killed again. Fortunately, not everyone was killed, and there was an ancestor, and Sister Boonity showed up only to die and become undead nun. But one ancestor in early to mid 1800s, 1700s, owned some land in what was becoming an important city. married granddaughter of Proctor's second wife, not Sister Boonity's blood ancestor, but ancestor married Proctor. Ancestor wanted to sell off pieces of land. Proctor granddaughter says, "You stupid idiot. This is big important city. You're going to be rich. It's going to be worth a lot of money." They fight. Genealogy describes he was the irresistible force. She was the immovable object, being the granddaughter of the obstinate, flinty proctors who stood up against the Salem witch trials. You can imagine. And so they went to court and fought. And the court's judgment was that she won. She was right. But, no, excuse me, I get it wrong. They were both right. That he could sell the land, but no one buying can take possession until she dies. And while she lives, they must pay her rent for the privilege of laying claim to the land. Long story short, the land was sold. Sister Boonity's lineage has nothing. Sister Boonity is raised by a single mother who is a teacher. You know what kind of salary that gets you. Sister Boonity is in the arts. You think Sister Boonity is rich? Ha! Descended from people who came on Mayflower. Yeah, but has the money of Barnacle on side of Mayflower. Life in the arts. It's okay. I'm undead. Who needs to eat? All I need is a little potion to keep me in one piece so I don't turn into Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn in movie about purple potion. The end of the broadcast approaches. Not yet. One last story. I could tell you about the ghost of Captain Joseph White, also in Massachusetts. He has a connection to the Salem witch trials. He was bludgeoned to death, like Mr. Borden, in his bed. This is the house that his ghost haunts. I'm trying to pick out interesting bit of story so don't have to read whole thing. Anyway, here's a haunted house in Salem, Massachusetts. Woo! Happy Halloween, you homosexuals. All right, that's all these stories. Now, I tell you last story. Last story is Sister Boonity's interpretation of Edgar Allan Poe story. Like Sister Boonity promised, mix of author from over 150 years ago and Sister Boonity. First, Sister Unity make poem. Homosexual, let's bird into room. Wonders aloud because living in Edgar Allan Poe's day. Will I ever get to screw another guy? I screwed a friend of mine, but then he told me I have to pay him $50 a week or he's going to tell everyone I am homosexual. Will I ever get to have sex again? Quoth the raven, nevermore. Young man then says, well, I don't know. There is what will in future be truck stop, but now is inn with outhouse by turnpike. I wait outside town outhouse, and you know, a lot of rough trade come by on the way from Boston to Springfield. We are by what will one day be Worcester. Outhouse is by Worcester. So maybe by outhouse I can get more screwed. Quoth the raven, you're a whore. Oh, that was dedicated to my sister Candy, who gave me idea. totally, whole thing, punchline was her idea. Now I tell you last ghost story of evening. The telltale fart. A young man. Oh, should I tell it in the first person like Edgar Allan Poe wrote it? Or shall I tell it in the third person? I tell it in third person. Why get hands dirty? Young man is a poor young man. Gets a job working for wealthy man in apartments in London. London chock filled with ghosts. You know, I'm itching myself because Sister Boonity sleeps over there at night, and every night on top of box of Moldovan dirt, and every night Sister Boonity is bitten by spiders. Spider bite here is itching. Thank you to people who give Sister Unity cures for itching. Should have had cream. Baking soda and water paste takes away itching very, very, very easily. Okay, so young man in London. He is very, very poor. He gets job with older man. The older man needs him to take care of the house and to chop the firewood and bring in the water and run the errands and whatnot. The older man is very rich and is a bit of a miser. He's not a good person. He underpays the young man. He underfeeds the young man. Even though the young man lives in his house, he gives him a room, that's nice, but there is only a bed, no other furniture in the room, not even curtains on the windows. The young man resents the older man's wealth and greed. The young man steals from the older man a gold watch. He thinks with this watch I can sell, I can get some better food. Maybe I quit job and find better job, live off money from gold watch in meantime, something. He steals gold watch, hides in it in his room. Next day, old man comes to him and says, "My gold watch is missing. I know you have taken it. You are filthy poor man, therefore you are thief." You see class inequity and you see a conservative like presumption of crime associating poor and crime, which in this case is true. But if we're not for conservatism being asshole philosophy that keeps poor people would might not be tempted to commit crimes. Not meaning to say that poor people should not be, the criminals should not be accused of crime because classism, but poor people committing crime should be understood why, and perhaps society can maybe lessen crime rate by decreasing and addressing poverty, which, by the way, social research, sociology tells us to be true, that when you decrease poverty, you decrease crime. Duh. Old man goes around young man's room, tearing apart and looking for this and that, and he finds under mattress of bed gold watch. Aha! You did take it, and now you will receive such a thrashing. And he takes a big stick and he starts to beat the young man. The young man has had all he can take from this asshole, and he grabs the log from the like the fireplace log. He grabs it from old man and he beats him on the head. And after the second strike, the old man's ancient and fragile skull splits open, falls dead. The young man has said, "Oh my God, I have murdered him." Not too different from Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment beginning. No plagiarism. Think of me as AI. It's all fair. You can steal. It's AI. I'm artificial intelligence because I am intelligent and clearly I am artificial. I am AI, so I can take from Dostoevsky. Besides, he is dead. So, what does young man do? He has stolen. He has murdered. He does not want to live in prison the rest of life. He does not want to be good and tell police what he has done, obviously. So he takes body of old man and he cuts into pieces, drains blood, puts pieces, he has to hide them somewhere, will not hide them in the backyard. Dogs will dig it up. Plus, this is an apartment, so there's no backyard. He buries pieces of old man. He hides them under floorboard of bedroom. The floorboard, he takes out the nails, takes up a couple of floorboards, and in the crawl space, he puts the legs over here and the arm over here. He puts the head over there. He puts the organs right by his bed. The liver, then the lungs, and then the heart. And last of all, he puts the old man's bum. He even cuts out the little anus. And the anus he puts on top of the right butt cheek. And then he puts the boards over the crawl spaces and he hammers the nails back in at each board. And the room looks exactly as it has always looked. But at night, he sleeps. What does he hear when he sleeps? He hears the clop clop of a horse passing by. He hears the night watchman calling out, 1 a.m. and all is well. And that first night, he hears one high-pitched fart. He bolts upright in bed. He stares into the darkness of his room. What did I hear? But there is no other sound. He wakes up the next day. He goes about the business of the house. There are reports the old man is missing, rumors, but he says nothing. That night he sleeps. And as he lays his head on his pillow, he gets into the half asleep, where you're just slipping away. And he hears again a high-pitched fart, followed by a triple ripple. He bolts upright and stares into the dark. What was that? He lays his head back down upon the pillow. Then, just as he slips back to sleep again, here's the low roller. Blurp! He sits bolt upright. And all night long, he keeps hearing these farting noises like a 12-ton symphony by John Adams, played by Los Angeles Philharmonic. And the next night, he hears the same. He's gone without sleep for 2 nights in a row now. He is getting paranoid. He says to himself, it is the anus of the old man crying out. I took off the jaw from his head. I separated the lungs from his body. He cannot yell, but the anus is possessed by his soul and is crying out, I have been killed. I have been murdered, and this man has done it. So he goes into the old man's living room and takes up expensive Turkish carpet and brings into bedroom and puts down, maybe will muffle sounds. There's a knock at the front door. He opens the front door and the blood runs from his face as he sees before him police, 2 officers, police. The officers tell him, sir, this is a wellness check. We have not heard, the neighbors have not heard from the old man. The shopkeepers from whom he usually shops have not heard from the old man. His place of business, where he became rich, has nothing from him. So we are performing wellness check just to see. Is the old man here? And the young man says to the officers, no, he is not here. He left 3 days ago. I do not know where. I have not heard from him since. I don't know. The officer said, would you mind if we come in and have a look at his room and perhaps ask you a couple of questions? The young man cannot say no, so he lets in the officers. And they look about, and they go to the old man's room, and they bend over the bed to see if it has been slept in. And as they bend over, looking at the pillow and the sheets to see if they are disturbed or not, the young man hears from his room across the hall, and he is startled, and he thinks to himself, did they hear it? Did the police hear it? I don't think they heard it. And he relaxes, and the police stand up, and they turn towards the door of the old man's bedroom and walk towards it when the young man hears a wet, wet, pop, pop, pop. Did they hear it? Did the police hear it, he thinks. But the police show him no sign of having heard it. So the young man walks around to the side of the police officer and looks in his face. The police officer turns and looks at him coldly with no expression, and then looks across the hall and says, what is that room there? And the young man is convinced by this that the police must know. They must know. How could they not know? And the young man, with no sleep for 3 nights, his mind is going like 60 miles an hour, is going like 75 kilometers an hour. And he says to himself, they have to know. They are playing game of cat and mouse. I must remain silent. I will be polite, and I will not give anything away. They will know nothing. How can they know anything? They will know nothing. He says, oh, that is the room where I sleep. It is a spare room. There's not much in it. The police go into the room. As the police walk through the doorway, the young man hears, burp. He's sure the police can hear, and he thinks to himself, they will not show any sign. A fart always makes someone giggle, or they blush, or they say, excuse me, or they are offended. The police officer is not showing anything that tells me that he knows. He knows what I have done. He knows the anus is below the floorboards. He knows. And he's not giving it away because he is trying to trap me. I will not give him any sign that I know that he knows. The police officer says, well, this looks like a nice enough room. I have been on my feet all day. Do you mind if I sit on the edge of your bed? Maybe you could pull in a chair from the other room and sit, and I will ask you a few questions about the old man's life and comings and goings, so we have a better sense of the case. And the young man, his hands are shaking now, as he says, please make yourself at home. And he goes and pulls in a small chair from the other room and sits. And while the police officer is asking him innocuous questions, such as, did the old man have a habit of leaving the house every day? Around what time would he leave the house every day? Where did he go every day? Who are the people that came to the house to visit him? Were they family? Were they people of business? Were there any strangers who came to the house? These are all questions to establish the lifestyle of the old man. But every question the young man can hear from under the floorboards. Pooh, farp, blood, spabble, 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 blood. And the worst of all are the trumpeting wet ones. You know the ones you go to the bathroom in the bus station, in the airport, in a stall, and God forbid it comes from your own bum. Then everyone knows you are a diarrhea-making idiot whose bum has no control and is spraying brown shit everywhere. And you can hear the people snickering in the other stalls. This comes from under the floor again and again and again. Every time the officer is talking, the young man, it is getting so he can't hear the questions from the officer. He hears the farting. He is sure that the underside of the floor is now covered in diarrhea, or like little balls of shit that were moist that stuck. So it is like some kind of like stucco or like a golf course or with the balls of the shit for all the. Maybe the anus is traveling around under the floor, around the room. There's a fart from over there. There's a fart from over here. The fart from under his chair now. Now it's from under the police officer in the bed. Like it's trying to aim the like shit missiles as though it wants to spell I was murdered on the ceiling with shit, but the floor is in the way. And the young man, it's now he cannot hear what the police officer is saying for the farting. And it is non-stop until he screams out loud, I can't take it anymore. Yes, I killed him. I killed the old man. I know you know already. I know you can hear his anus. Fine. It's under the floorboards right by where you are sitting. The second police officer gets out a knife. The other gets out a knife. They pry up the floorboard, and the minute the board comes off, a giant fountain of shit and liquid and maybe some pus, because, he was wounded, so the anus got cut out, so there's going to be pus. It flies and it hits the ceiling and makes the first Rorschach test ever. Because one of the police officers, the one not asking the questions, sees and gets this idea, he incriminated himself. We did not hear a single fart or anything, and the guy was going crazy. So you can find out what is in a person's mind if you create one of those big shit spots. And that was the first Rorschach test. His name was not Rorschach. His name was Smith. And it was Mr. Rorschach who read his papers on his own research and then adapted it using ink, which is, of course, far easier to work with and much more pleasant to smell. Oh, but the young guy, he was taken away and he was executed for murder. That is the tale by Edgar Allan Poe, The Telltale Fart. And that is the last of the horror stories to be told by Sister Boonity. Please remember to give. Where is QR code? No idea where I put QR code. Please remember to give to City1X in honor of and for payment for Sister Boonity's telling you these stories. Sister Boonity didn't have dinner. Sister Boonity's throat is a little rough. Sister Boonity has spent 3.5 hours of her Halloween evening giving to you. So can you please return the Shakti and give back by donating $1, $5, $10? When I give $20, $25, $30 is what I can afford when I give. Or if you want premium, remember you can get, I wrapped in plastic now, you can get for $150 this original hand drawing by Sister Unity's roommate. Or if you're first person to bid to donate $150, and say that you want it. I mean, if you donate $150 and you don't say, I'm not giving it to you. But if you donate $150 and say, I want it, then you get it. And if you are second, third, fourth, fifth person to donate $150, you don't get this one. But the artist will create for you your own pen and ink on paper drawing of a scrotum, part of the scrotum series. Perhaps you will get number 17. Or if you donate $50, you get Sister Unity's face on a cloth, suitable for framing. That is the first. Well, that one was for $40 because it doesn't have mouth. This one is the one for $50. If you're first person donate $50, you get and say that you want it, you get this one. And if you are second, third, fourth person to donate $50 and say that you want it, then you get future one of Sister Boonity or Sister Unity. I'd make another one tonight. They are right here in my sterling silver basket. Don't you want to take my face from my basket? You know what I'm saying. And how do you donate this money? Here is the QR code for YouTube. Here is the QR code for Instagram. If I did not hold it up long enough, you can find the video on, I think on Instagram, but surely on YouTube, and just go to the place where the QR code is. There's 3 or 4 places and find it. If you can't do QR code, go to Cash App, $LASPI on Cash App, $LASPI, or go to www.ladragnuns.org. Then click on Donation tab at top menu. There is page with PayPal button and funny video in heart shape saying thank you. Thank you so much for spending Halloween with Sister Boonity. I can't go out anymore. It's too much. So this is how I celebrate. Thank you for giving me audience to do it with. Otherwise, I sit home picking my nose or other orifices. Thank you so very, very much for everyone who did donate tonight. You will never see Sister Boonity in Tartarus. You have avoided this fate by donating for helping children not be forced into non-consensual sex from a pimp at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You will go to the other place that has better furniture. Less interesting, better furniture. Congratulations to yourself. Before I go, I look for last questions or messages. Thank you for kisses, Adrienne. Limonade Liberal, thank you for the applause. That is YouTube. Oh, there are people waving at me on Instagram. That's so nice. I am sure you have said things and said the questions, but I did not get them because I have been telling the story, not reading the messages assiduously. Also because I'm not wearing my reading glasses, so the tiny, tiny little font, can't see it. Good night, Adrienne. Your middle name is also very Halloweeny. Skull. Ooh. I will see you, I hope, next year. This was supposed to be a performance live in Winthrop, Massachusetts. The gig fell through. The promoter got into a personal thing and he had to cancel his show. So I did not perform there. I performed here. If you want to Sister Boonity, or Sister Boonity and Sister Unity's roommate, who is also a storyteller, to perform for you, send message about booking a gig. It is affordable, travel expenses, housing expenses if needed, and a small honorarium, a donation if it's a sister, is all it takes. And Sister Boonity or Sister Unity or Sister Crab or Sister Pickle or Sister Chicka Pow Wow, any of us can be available for your performance venue. And also remember, $500 donation gets you magic show. As the witches and the goblins begin to recede. Oh, wait, no, it is only 10:43. Sorry, in California, they're going to come out in another hour and 15 minutes. When the witches and the goblins begin to recede in the morning, when the church bells ring and the cries go out from the spinneret of the mosque, and the brass bells are ringing by the temple of Ganesh, Vishnu, and Shiva, and Parvati, and Durga, and Lakshmi. Diwali is coming. You may awaken from your reverie and wonder what was this crap you heard that night. The crap was meant to give you a good time, and the good time was meant to give you inspiration to help other people. Kindness is not the meaning of life. Kindness is the way of life. And it helps you find the meaning of life. Final words from spooky Sister Boonity. Okay, how do I turn all of this shit off? Instagram, you go first. Where the hell is the stop button? No, that's just telling me I'm me. I don't see a stop button. Okay, I just push the X. Boop. Ah, yes. Ha ha ha! Goodbye, Instagram. That one is ended. For you who are on YouTube, my first home in 2007, where Sister Boonity first broadcast her first video with no words, up until now. Thank you so much for adhering to this platform, which has given me so much opportunity and so much joy, and has never paid me a dime. Well, when they asked me if I wanted to monetize, I said no, because I thought this is for charity. I didn't realize I could turn around and donate it. Stupid me. And now I don't have enough followers. They don't ask me to monetize. Oh well, that's what you do. That's what you get. Sister Unity is indeed out partying over at LA ATM. No, I don't think she is standing by an ATM machine. I think she's probably in the at the Eagle. They have a costume contest at the Eagle in Silver Lake. I think she's probably in the bathroom trying to suck on someone's hairy anus. Good night, YouTubers. Thank you also very much for listening. And with all my heart, thank you to anyone who has contributed to City X1 Youth. Until we meet again.